What is going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, and we are going to discuss Nicki Minaj and her situation with the COVID vaccine. So, I want to put a disclaimer and say I'm fully vaccinated. I've had both shots of the Moderna vaccine, um, and I'm preparing to get the booster shot as well. So, I do believe in the vaccine, I believe in science, I believe in healthcare. I also understand people have every right to not get the shot. People have every right to have vaccine hesitancy and question science and the medical society, especially within the black community, people of color communities. I understand. And at the same time, I'm not going to sit up here and not address the ignorance and misinformation that is often thrown around on social media, on the internet. And a lot of people say and do ignorant things that can potentially lead to harmful things taking place. So, I'm a big fan of Twitter. I'm on Twitter a lot. I'm on Twitter more than I'm on any other social media for the most part. So, I was actually viewing Nicki Minaj make these tweets live at the time when she was doing it. Like, it'll literally tell you 32 minutes ago. Like, you'll see, like, this is actually happening live time. And the fact that Nicki later also basically tried to lie and cover up what she said, as if millions of people didn't see you live tweet this, as if people don't have the capabilities of screenshotting. So people have evidence of you saying this and actually saw you saying this. And this is in the day of the internet. I'm just going to let you know. What you say and do can and will be held against you, okay? And you can't sit up here and try to lie your way out of shit when it's live tweeted, okay? And people can screenshot. So, like, either get your story together or shut up, okay? So, let's talk about it. I'm just going to read a little bit from this article. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's leading infectious disease expert. Mind you, I work with infectious disease doctors in my field all the time. But that's not to say anything, but just to kind of give you a background of where I'm coming from as well. Infectious disease expert debunked a claim made by rapper Nicki Minaj that the COVID-19 vaccine can make cisgendered men impotent. Fauci dismissed the claim as false when asked about it during an interview Tuesday on CNN. There's no evidence that it happens, nor is there any mechanistic reason to imagine that it would happen, he said. So the answer to your question is no. Fauci went on to talk about the dangers of vaccine and misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation, mostly on social media, and the only way we know to counter mis and disinformation is to provide a lot of correct information, he said, and to essentially debunk these kinds of claims, which may be innocent on her part, Nicki Minaj's part. I'm not blaming her for anything, but she should be thinking twice about propagating information that really has no basis. Okay, the Starship rapper made the erroneous statement on Monday in a series of tweets explaining why she skipped this year's Met Gala. In one post, the rapper, who said she tested positive for COVID herself, told fans that she didn't want to put her baby at risk. Meanwhile, she's in a relationship with a rapist and a sexual predator, but she's worried about her baby. Right. Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty, welcomed their first child together last year. He is a sexual offender, rapist, and a sexual predator. And that's who you decided to marry. See, this is my thing. Okay, you have every right to not get the vaccine, not want the vaccine. But when you're spreading misinformation about the vaccine, and then you're spreading misinformation about your reasonings why you don't want to get it, you can't claim to be concerned about the health of your child married to a sexual predator and rapist. That is an oxymoron. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that, those two don't even coincide. Oh, I'm worried about the safety of my child, but I'm also married to a rapist who I had a baby with a rapist and a sex offender. Like, if you're going to be pro-choice and worried about your health, like, it's just, a lot of you are hypocrites, and a lot of the stuff you say doesn't even make sense. She went on to say that what they want you to get vaccinated for the Met. If I get vaccinated, it won't for the Met. It'll be once I feel I've done enough research. I'm working on that now. In the meantime, my love, be safe. Wear the mask with 2 strings that grips your head and face, not that loose one. That, I will give her that, because again, people have every right to want to have further research, further information. But here's the thing. A lot of you say that, and then you don't go and get further information. You don't actually do any critical thinking or researching. A lot of you go straight to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And don't get me wrong, you can find a lot of great bases for information on those websites, but you should also be looking at peer review articles, scholarly articles. You should also be doing your own research that's not just on social media. Read a book, read a medical article, read some scholarly journals. And then on the flip side, scholarly journals and peer review articles need to be readily available and free and accessible, which a lot of times those of us that have experience with trying to get scholarly journals and reviews and peer reviews, a lot of these think tank databases will charge you to read the scholarly article, the peer review article, the journal. They will charge you, kind of similar to New York Times. It's on the internet, and then they're telling you that there's a subscription price for you to read, except the problem with the scholarly journal is the fact that they want you to pay that price each time you access it, or each time you access a different article, unless you have a subscription with Sage or JSTOR, just to name a few. But if you're going to do critical research, do it. Don't just sit up here and say it and then spew misinformation and then potentially put other people at risk because of your own ignorance and also your own bullshit. But she is right. If you're not going to get vaccinated, at least wear a mask. Wear a mask. Outside, inside, around other people. Wear your mask. And like she said, wear preferably a surgical mask with the 2 strings that are secured to your face. Okay? And switch your mask every day. You shouldn't be wearing the same mask multiple days a week. Okay? You should be switching them in and out. All right? Get a new mask. Okay? In a third tweet, the rapper shared a bizarre story about her cousin's friend in Trinidad who got the vaccine and became impotent. And this also just sounds like some twist around, people who lie, and put on these personas and fake stories to try to justify the ignorance that they just sprouted. Really, her cousin's friend in Trinidad, right? The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says on its most updated information page on vaccinations that there is currently no evidence that any vaccine, including COVID-19 vaccines, causes fertility problems in cis men and women. Okay, and when I say cis, I'm saying cisgendered women or men, okay? Minaj's tweets caused a firestorm and garnered strong reactions from numerous leaders and officials. Quote, I'm not familiar with the works, or as familiar with the works of Nicki Minaj as I probably should be, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, adding that vaccines are wonderful and everybody should get them. MSNBC host Joy Reid also criticized the Grammy-winning artist. Quote, you have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, my God, sister, you can do better than that, Reid said. Even the health minister of Trinidad and Tobago, which is where her cousin's friend is currently at, if this person even exists, because, again, people who get caught up in their own shit and they're always lying, I'm just saying, chimed in and claimed, said, quote, we had to expend a lot of time and energy yesterday because suppose it was true, we don't want to accused of just ignoring it. But we spent a lot of time yesterday trying to track it down. So far, it has not been proven to be true in Trinidad or anywhere else in the world. You think? So apparently, this cousin's friend doesn't even, this didn't even happen. This doesn't even exist. And this is what happens when people just want to lie and spread misinformation to cover up the shitty shit that they're doing. In my opinion, my speculations, and I could be wrong. I can be wrong. I'm not saying that I have all the answers and I'm right 24/7. But in my speculation, this basically sounds like you're trying to cover up the fact that your husband and the father of your child failed to register as a sex offender and literally had to do a virtual trial. And we'll pull that up. Information will be in the description box below. Because you know me, I like to fact check, and I want you to fact check me and do your own independent investigation and research. But Nicki Minaj husband failed to register as a sex offender. And all of this is happening in the midst of everything that's going on with her making these ignorant, misinformed tweets around the vaccine. And basically, in my opinion, it just seems like she made these ignorant, erroneous comments about the COVID-19 vaccine and potency and cisgendered men to cover up the fact that Nicki Minaj's husband pleads guilty to failure to register as a sex offender. Authorities said Kenneth Petty moved from New York to California and, as required by law, was supposed to register as a result of being convicted of attempted rape. Okay, and this was posted on ABC News September 10th. And Kenneth Petty pleaded guilty to failure to register as a sex offender in California. Petty had initially pleaded not guilty to the single count indictment, but later changed his plea. Court documents filed on Thursday show he's scheduled to be sentenced in January. His attorney could not immediately be reached. Authorities in Beverly Hills arrested Petty following a November 2019 traffic stop after learning that he had moved from New York to California and failed to submit his sex offender status. He was released after posting a $20,000 bail, but was arrested again last year after he was indicted in connection with the incident. He was released from federal custody on a $100,000 bond. According to court documents, Petty relocated to California in July 2019 as required by law, was supposed to register as a result of being convicted of first-degree attempted rape in New York in April of 1995. Petty, who was 16, you're 16 and you're already a sex offender. You're 16 and you're already a predator. All right, who was 16 at the time, served nearly 4 years in a New York State prison. The victim sued him and Minaj in August, alleging the couple tried to force her to recant her account of the incident. The woman, who has publicly identified herself as Jennifer Hugh, said in the suit that Petty and Minaj began contacting her and members of her family following his arrest in 2019. Now, mind you, the alleged rape and the conviction all took place in 1995, but because of the traffic stop and him not registering as a sex offender, this is all, again, your past will catch up to you. And also, I want to throw this in there. Let's not forget Nicki Minaj's brother, right? It seems like she loves to be around toxic men, and it kind of makes you wonder about her as a person. I'm just going to be honest. You're concerned about your child, but everybody around your child is sexual predators. Strange. So to end this video, let's not forget Nicki Minaj's brother, who was sentenced to 25 years to life, okay, for sexual assault. The brother of rapper Nicki Minaj was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for sexually assaulting an 11-year-old girl at his Long Island home. So what does that tell you? Like, again, you are surrounded by predators and abusers, and it just seems like, in my opinion, you use the time to spread misinformation about COVID-19 and the COVID-19 vaccines to over 20 million followers on your Twitter and other and residual people who are going to see that tweet and feel like, oh, I'm going to become sexually impotent as a cisgendered man if I get a vaccine. And here's the thing, let's talk about STIs, right? I'm going to put information about sexually transmitted infections and sexually transmitted diseases in the description box below. But the impotency, that sounds like some long, like, symptoms from someone who has an untreated STI, STD, essentially. Not to mention that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, they actually tried to track this person down to see who this person was, and like I said, there's no proof. So, in my opinion, it just sounds like, hey, I have to say some shit to cover up what's actually going on behind closed doors about my sexual predator husband. Okay? Not to mention that my brother is also a sexual predator. Like, it. Listen. Okay? Now, that's what I'm going to leave it on. Information will be in the description box below about her tweets, about the COVID-19 vaccine, about COVID-19, about wearing a mask, how you can get tested, and also information about STIs and STDs will be in the description box below. Wear a mask. That's inside, outside. Wear a mask. Try to stay 3 to 6 feet apart, preferably 6 feet apart. Wash your hands frequently throughout the day. Disinfect. And if you can, and if you want to, get vaccinated. I strongly recommend it. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm fully vaccinated, alright? And I'm still wearing a mask inside. So, it is what it is. I'm out.